Yes, I am a gamer. I'm not gonna now like mention. I know there's gonna be some people that will disagree with me on stuff, but um, I know some people will just ask me. I know some people are gonna ask me after this in the comments, like, has woman ruined your gaming? No. What has them? Toxicity may is some type of problem, but the bigger problems are, let's see, throwers, cheaters, smurfs. What else? Predators. What else? I think what else is also just people who manually lie. And I know a lot of people are gonna say majority of them are from women. No. And to be fair, I did run into like a couple of women who are not good. It's like they're bad, like toxic and stuff. But majority of people I ran into that are extremely toxic are usually men. If I be honest. Not all men are toxic. There are some men out there I see that I met that are incredible, like absolutely awesome. I even became friends with some of them. Not as much as women, but still, it's better than not being friends with men at all. But what makes me just usually be against men usually? It's not because they're men. It's because some things they say that sounds really bad. I mean, there are gonna be times I never use a mic, not because I always assume I'm a woman, but it's because sometimes I don't have the greatest statement, and sometimes my words come out of my mouth are not great. So that's kind of why sometimes I'm muted. I muted myself. So yeah. Um, well, the worst instance I met that were toxic from men, I would say there was a Theramane who was a fighter who I luckily am against. Brutally. Not luckily, just brutally against that player. And I regret endorsing him when I found out the true colors, and I really went against him. And I choose to not do my best. And normally, and a lot of people assume I'm not going to do my best because I'm a terrible person. No, I usually don't do my best if I'm just struggling and I know the problem is me, or I'm doing my best because there's a terrible human being on my team. Well, that's one instances I met that are pretty terrible for men. There was not very many terrible women in gaming, especially in Overwatch, because the rate of females being terrible are very low. But when it lands on that percent, I have no problem calling them out as well. Just like I call out men. Like I mean it's equality. I'd rather do equality than inequality. Um the first time I met a man woman was back when I used to play on rank a lot. And let's just say she was intentionally throwing because she just wants to troll. And not just trying to learn or, have fun and stuff. And some players call her out. And they're in her own team. Then I chose to unmute my mic and I call her out as well because no person would just throw just because just trolling. Man, like, come on. And then let's just say she says a comment to me that about me. I know it's just something that isn't gonna be like that's not gonna like it. That's not gonna make me look any better, but it's better than what some people would like say. Anyways, she said I'm a grown man. Like if she was implying that I was the problem or I was the one being toxic, when the fact everyone was calling her out. And then let's just say I said, but you're a woman. I didn't really find it offensive to say it, but I'm usually an honest lad and rather be honest than try to be nice to somebody who's trolling and throwing on purpose. Like, I say trolling and throwing as bad. So, and when you're on the bad side, usually I either give you a name that you're ain't gonna like, which is rare, or majority of the time, I will say, like, why are you throwing? Why are you a smurf? Why are you brother? Why are you, etc. That's basically the stuff that I would normally say. Well, not like, literally just more of like hints of, I'm gonna report you, no matter what. When the worst experience of men, I'll be honest, and in the Arthera was one of them. One of the others, I think, was Sampon. Yeah, I think he joined Overwatch, and to be honest, I don't think I'll ever welcome him. Never, ever, 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 ever. And yeah, it was offensive, alright. Like, well, the situation, I said it in a short while ago, so I'll make a little brief on this with mention the main stuff, like, it didn't even start, he didn't even say anything until someone brought him up. So let's see, it starts with the Reaper blaming the Mercy, but I shift the blame to him, the Reaper. Because literally the Mercy was one of the two better teammates we had on the team. And yes, I was one of those who wasn't a good teammate, but I'd rather shift the blame onto the person who was correctly in the wrong than let it get exploited. Like, the Mercy did her best. Same with and the tank was the one carrying the whole team along with the Mercy. The Reaper didn't take accountability until later on, and I'll admit I was also in the wrong where I call him a Reaper one trick, and well, it backfired in my face because I didn't realize the real problem was right in front of me, playing colors on the stats. Playing colors. And with that being the Hanzo, which is, you could probably guess, is that person. And it went from, it's the Reaper's problem, to automatically the Hanzo. Because he said one sentence that is easily reportable. Like, I'm not joking. Easily reportable, so yeah. Yeah, then that's about it. On that side. The worst experience I had on Mercy, though, was one time where the art support was sexist towards me. Like, Lori was not having any filter and it assumes that I was a woman just because I play Mercy. Let's say they blame my heals. Keep in mind, this is gold, so there are obviously going to be players who will complain about not enough heals. Obviously, if I'd be honest, that's obvious. Because when I was in Plat, I had to worry more about what I'm supposed to be doing rather than focus on heals. Because for me to get to Plat, I had to avoid heal bodying so much. Because I had to learn from that mistake a lot. Because I was ranking enough there, I got cocky, basically. But the Laurie said, was like, let everybody be nice because of the woman. Or something like that. I'm like, bruh. I didn't say it with the mic on. I just ended up saying it like, my brain was like, bruh, you don't even know who I am. And let's just say, they assumed that was terrible support because my heals were less than 1,000. Well, that's only at the start, and when it wasn't working with Widow Mercy combo, I swapped off to Lucio and assumed that I was a terrible Mercy player. When Rowdy, well, I'm not like a Mercy main. I'm just more of like Mercy's one of my preferred heroes. Not like a one trigger. I just prefer her over some of the heroes, especially over Baptiste, where Baptiste is my worst hero. If I be honest, the exact thing that would make a lot of players go like that character's easy. For me, it's really difficult because it's one of the most aiming characters I've ever seen. A lot more aiming than Nana, which is actually saying something. Yeah. And luckily, my teammates called him out. Because he was certainly bringing everyone's mood down. That's like bad. I stopped off in Mercy and Lucio because it would be way better if I do Lucio than do Mercy. And at the time, I was really good at DPSing on Lucio at the time. So I figure, let's do that on Rialto. So yeah, basically. And we only lost because Laurie assumed it was because of me, but in reality, there was no communication. There was a lack of accountability from the Laurie. Because Laurie was mean to me, not mean to the teammates. So like it chose to target me because I was playing Mercy. Don't that sound weird? Because I'm not like complete fanboy either, so yeah, it technically was targeting into a masculine person. Technically. So yeah, people will assume things. When rowdy, that's not the case. That kind of stuff. If I be honest, and yes, I had runs and some mercies were bad. Runs and some mercies were amazing. One of my best friends was a support main. And, the gender of the person, that'd be a woman. She was a lot nicer than me. She had my back, I had her back. It's like, just think of you and a homie. Like, two men. Think of that, but with swapping one of the men with a woman, rather. That's basically what me and her had each other's back like. It's like brother, sister, or something like that. Or something like that. I don't know. It's just more of like that. But there was also experience when I was in the group. Normally, even words are some words I don't like hearing. I do kind of call them out, but I don't go crazy on the words. There was a few instances where I had friends, but they were no longer friends, which is one of them being a DPS main. Let's just say he was so toxic to where I had to warn him. If he is toxic one more time, I will unfriend him. And let's just say he did exactly just that, and yep, unfriend the ghost. Like, I don't mind toxicity, but it has to be just more of like neutral rather than go like crazy. I can understand a little bit where they're coming from, but if it's like extreme, then yeah, obviously I'm not gonna be your friend. And then there was a group, as in like, there was a woman and a couple men, and they used to be my friend until I found out they don't really accept me much. And even when I do my best, they kind of just put me down to where I kind of felt like I was just their puppet or toy, like, like adult toy. Used as adult toy rather than as an actual teammate. That's what I felt at the time. When I found out they go to my rivals and I can't join them, I unfriended them both. Unfriended the two people I have a group with normally, and my energy went back up, more positivity afterwards, because I felt like I was in the trapping of a cage, basically. If I be honest about what's the worst cheater I met, I don't remember him or her, or whoever that person is, but I know that they were definitely at DPS or something like that, and they were aiming really hard, and there were talks, and then we won because they were terrible at the role. So yeah, the worst Smurf though was pretty recently, if I be honest. Personally, in my opinion, I know this might be controversial, but Smurfs ruin the game more than throwers. I'm going to say this now because throwers at least aren't going to harm you that much. Smurfs will put you in a rank you don't belong in, and it's similar to Zimmer, which is console version of aimbot. And well, Smurfs usually, but when I work with Smurfs, usually they suck. Even when they were doing in, there was also a time where I was glad we lost. Well, this was not the first time. I was glad I lost with a Smurf on my team. But let's just say he just acts like it's just fun. And let's just say I think he's just I think he's just a crybaby for trying to be a Smurf. Just my opinion. I think Smurfs are terrible, honestly. It's like you're playing a game, but you're not in the right rank. In fact, you're below what your rank actually is. So yeah, and I think Smurfs always ruin themselves, honestly. I gotta be honest. It's like Metro, but somehow worse than Metro. Which that should be saying something. I mean, the best time I ever throw for me didn't do my best for a good reason wasn't a time with Theramane, but rather with a different match on a push map. And with this one being more of a common pick, but not my favorite push map. My favorite one, it was Esperanto or something, the one that had more of a houses close together, putting some type of a strawberry or chocolate cake, something like that, with some icing, something like that. But let's say I think this was in a video a while ago, but on the different channel, but I think I will say it here today. I ran into a Mercy and a Ashe. And turns out the Ashe was a Smurf, while the Mercy was being carried, which is boosting up. Or what some people call it Europe, but I think it's Team Boy because the way they act just sounds like a guy. With the Ashe sound more like a girl or something like that. Though I might be wrong, but still. Yeah, there's some possibility the Mercy man ran into was a guy. I mean, there were times that it happened to be. So yeah. And trust me, when I told Ryan that it's fine if the Mercy, it's fine, the Mercy didn't heal me, didn't care about you, didn't care about me, didn't care about the Zen. We won, they won, fair and square, because without the Reinhardt work doing well and me doing well and Sun doing well, guess what? They won, the Smurf lost, by example. I know some people think Smurfs are good, but to be honest, personally, I think Smurfs are very uneducated and very nonchalant, and probably even similar to a word what are they? Crybabies who want to exploit players just so it's easier when they go against them. That's what I'm thinking. I know people are going to try to educate me on how Smurfs work. If I be honest, if I'm going to make an old account, I'd rather just learn something new. As one trick, two tricks, something that can challenge me so I can get better at something else other than what it was. That kind of stuff. Not some crazy helping people in the lower rank. Well, yeah, and yes, I'll admit. Hold on, give me a sec. I know this sounds like yapping session, but at least you're gonna hear the stories out of me a little bit. Um, I'll admit that I worked with a Smurf once, and back then I didn't think Smurfs were bad until I realized how many Smurfs will ruin the games, and then I realized why would I work with them? So yeah, basically, if you ever working with Smurf, just honestly just throw their game or get players to report them so they can don't have access to your internet or something like that, or at least make sure they cannot be hurting ranks. I think Smurfs was one of the biggest problems, and I think it's more the problem like there's some people who just like want help, but they ask Smurfs rather than ask a friend who's the same rank as them help them out. Like, I'd rather work with a friend at the same rank or similar rank as me rather than work with a Smurf, because Smurfs ruin games. Just like cheaters, just like, the next word, predators, and also just like throwers or leavers. There times I left. I became a leaver on purpose. One time. That one time was back when I play on rank. Let's just say I was proud that I didn't have to tolerate those players. Um, Here's my the players blamed me, who I just showed up. Here's mine. I was playing DPS at that time, so I was playing soldier, and also they blamed me or something like that. Player who was a replacement gives mine its own rank, so that's going to be an obvious thing. They blamed me first chance they got, rather than just focus on playing, or owning up to the fact they can't play sometimes. And then I sent a message that should hit them in the head with words like "hit the nail on coffin" and I said that you don't deserve to win. That's because they were mean. Like nasty. Nasty. Like the room is so nasty that cockroaches are like, ugh, that room's so smelly, I can't handle it either. That kind of stuff. Anyways, sorry for this random video showing up out of nowhere after the shorts of like my opinions on perks. It's because I want to give it a little bit of time to myself before I go back to doing that, because I don't want to like over upload stuff and scheduling stuff. So anyways, hope you guys had a good day today. And then let me know in the comment if you agreed with me or disagreed with me. If you disagreed with me, then where's where you go? I'll even call the bubble. Go like, let's get this one in the basement. Goodbye. Something like that. Anyways, have a good day. See you next time. Yeah. Dun da 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 da. Hoo-ya. Da 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 da. Wee 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 wee. Da 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 da.